I'm Winston Potgieter, lead developer and founder of Nextkast Radio Automation. In this video, we're going to cover how to run Nextkast live and how to do semi-live voice tracking. So the first thing we need to do is set up our microphone. And that can be done by hitting the mic settings button on the main screen and then making sure you select your microphone input. Also, you want to make sure you select master volume. And if the inputs aren't available at the time, you can go ahead and plug in the device and press the refresh available inputs, and then those will get refreshed, and then you can select your device. That's the first part. The second part is the audio attenuation when mic is active. Now that is basically what we call ducking, and you can set that to your preference. You're going to have to do trial and error testing to see everyone's level is going to be different. But that basically will lower the music or whatever you're speaking over while the mic is active. Nextkast has some other cool features here if we enable the microphone effects option. We can set our gain, attack, release, threshold, pre-delay, and ratio for compression, for audio compression. We can also adjust our EQ for the microphone only. There's also a mic auto gain, which will auto gain the microphone. You got to be careful with that setting because sometimes it'll bring in too much background noise. So again, experiment with that. And there's also a noise gate option where you can set a threshold and have a noise gate turn on. Now, one thing you'll notice is when you're using the microphone and you have headphones on, you will hear a slight delay, anywhere from a quarter to a half a second, maybe sometimes less, depending on the PC. Now, the way to alleviate that is by checking this mute mic monitor. Basically, when that is checked, when the microphone is on, you won't hear it, and so that won't be so distracting. Now, if you do need to hear yourself, we'll have to cover this in a later video, but you'll need to use the line-in external mixer method, which requires you to hook up an external mixer and some other setup. So we won't really talk about that. But again, to alleviate the delay that you hear in the headphones when you have the microphone on, the easiest thing to do is just check the mute mic monitor, and that will solve it. Also, if you notice that your voice is coming only on one of the channels, you can check mono, and that will make sure that your voice equally comes through the left and right channel. So that's how you set up the microphone. Next, we're going to go ahead and start a playlist. Okay, once we've set up our microphone, we can now go ahead and do a live show. Now, we have that covered in other videos and tutorials. So you will go into the playlist builder and either generate a playlist for a date or a time, or you can manually drag and drop tracks into the playlist to create your playlist that you're going to be running live. In this scenario, we've already generated a playlist and it is running. So we are live on air. Now, the way you want to do this is, the first thing we want to do is check the settings here. And we're going to make sure that the next button switches to automated mode, and I'm going to show you why that's important. So now that I have that checked, well, I'll give you an example of how we would do a break. So we would let this song finish. We'll go ahead and take it out of auto and put it in manual mode. That way, when that song finishes, it won't start the next until you press the start next button. So we're at the end of that song, and we're going to go ahead and talk here. We are now live on air, and when we are ready to start the next song, we just hit start next, and then the next song starts. And then I can turn off my microphone. And the cool thing about that too is now the auto mode in Nextkast is turned back on. So I don't have to do two things. All I did was press the start next button, and the next song started, and the auto got activated again, and so now it will keep in automated mode until we choose to do another break. I'd like to show you a couple of other things we can do while we're in live mode. These are features that I think are important to know. So the first feature is we can jump to any position. So if we wanted to bypass a few songs, I can right click in the playlist and select jump to, and then that would be the next song on air. We can also add a song from a search library option. So we can right click on the position and we can in a search and insert new track. Our search window will pop up and we can type in a keyword and then scan through the songs, and then once we've decided what song to insert, we hit insert track and you see that we inserted that song there, and we can close this now. So that's how you can insert tracks on a live radio show. Moving tracks around is quite easy. You can basically just click on the track and move it into your new position. So we've shown you how to insert tracks, and you can move them as well. We also have something called semi-real-time voice tracking. So if you wanted to be on the air, but you wanted to just fine-tune and make sure your voice track is exactly the way you want it to be heard, you can insert a voice track here. So you right-click on the position, insert edit voice track. So now I can preview the song that I'm talking out of. Hello, radio world. We are testing semi-real-time voice tracking. Here we go. We're going to talk into an ad, which is normally not what we do, but okay, we're going to hit mark next start and stop recording. And so you'll notice that that voice track now is inserted into our spot, and it will play out when the time comes. Now, a cool thing about voice tracking here as well is if we didn't like exactly how the voice track turned out, we can edit externally. So then it can open up another audio editing program of your preference, and we can edit that voice track. Another thing we can do while voice tracking is use all of our sample buttons here. So if we wanted to use some backdrop music or backdrop sound effects or recordings, we can put those on our sample buttons, and those will be included in our voice tracks. So that's how you add voice tracks in real time, in semi-real-time voice tracking with Nextkast. Again, this is to run live. There's also remote voice tracking, but we're just showing you how you would run live and how you could do semi-real-time voice tracking. Another final thing I'd like to show you is you can repick a track. So let's say this song here, I wanted to repick it just because I didn't feel like it was going to accomplish what I wanted for that particular hour. I can click here on my repick section here, and then it will repick for that particular position. And so it will repick from the same category, adhering to all the rules, and that way you can more fine-tune your hour using the repick option. Thanks for checking out this video.